All right, we are live. Hello, people. You'll have to excuse the pastilla and that I cough once in a while. Gonna readjust this just a tad. Now, let's observe what's going on in our body and make peace. Start with that, okay? Hi, guys. At the end of class 2 weeks ago, I said there won't be class next week, which was last week. But I forgot to write it on the page itself, in text. I forgot. So luckily, most people who follow me, they're present every class. Those who are live, and those who are not live, they just saw that there was no video, because there's hundreds of people who will see the video in the week, but just a handful of people who follow the class live. But I forgot. I'll try to remember, if there's no class, to advertise it textually. All right? Now that you're all here, well, some of you, let's speak about the Siddhi of today. Apya. A-P-Y-A. Apya. Apya is the Siddhi of relationship, specifically friendship. Well, it's more often used in the context of friendship than lovers, or filial, or employer relationship, or customer relationship. It's relationship in general, but more often used in the context of friendship, I would say. There's probably 50 different words for relationship in Sanskrit, because it's always which relationship. But the word that is the least stuck with a purpose is apya. And it's still mostly tainted with friendship, which is good enough, okay? So apya, relationship, friendly relationship. Not exclusive to friend, but friendly, okay? Meaning it's nice. All right, we're having a nice relationship. Because it is used mostly in friendship, it doesn't contain all the romantic aspects of lovers and the responsibility aspects of parenthood and all this other stuff. It's just we're in contact. Okay, apya. Those of you who study the language of the soul, or the Siddhi, the bija, didn't mean to say Siddhi, I meant to say seed, and I got, again, twisted in my mind. It happens. So the seeds, or the bija, can be explained by their sound. Okay, so ap means actively communicate. That doesn't mean speak. That means communicate. Okay, so the P usually is about the transfer of information. That's ap, communicate. Ya, in grammar, is a grammatical accord with something else. And in context, when there's no verb in the context, then ya establishes a relationship. Like when you say the mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, it means that it is Shiva that you're saying hi to with the Nama. The ya says is the grammatical accord. When there's no verb, like Indraya, your senses. Indraya, the ya means your senses allow the establishing of a relationship or a contact, okay? So apya is to give a chance to communication, to allow a relationship. Now, it can be romantic, filial, it can be customer relationship. Hello, what is broken and how can I help you? It can be any relationship, because Apya is to give a chance to communication or to the transfer of information. Now, that can mean many things, okay? But the general concept is there, Apya. Give a chance, allow the possibility of communication. Now, if it's the context where you're afraid to speak to someone, or too angry to speak to someone, or you don't know how to speak to someone, you're just confused, Apya will give you the courage to establish contact, to go forward and say, something in me has to come out, and I have to communicate information to you. Okay? Because you hope someone will receive it. It doesn't mean that the other will. You see, that Siddhi does not make someone else accept that relationship. It just means that what refuses the friendliness of exchanges, what makes the exchange hard inside you, what makes the exchange frustrating inside yourself, it calms that down. It gives permission to harmony and a smooth transfer of the information in both directions. Okay. Now, if you're the one who is closed, if you're the one who have trouble listening, if you're the one who can't concentrate, if you're the one who is blocked because information outside wants to come, okay? Someone wants to talk to you. Okay. If you're the one, Apya will facilitate the transfer of information, okay? It gives you the patience, the courage to just focus on the stream and follow the stream, okay? Apya. It means to be friendly and to allow relationship. I mean, it's literally sometimes used as friendship, although it means relationship. So when communication is coarse, is harsh, Apya will take care of your side. Unless you're very powerful in transmigration and spend a lot of time in a ritualistic state doing the Siddhi for someone else, which is possible. It works. You won't make the other start to agree with you. It will not change their opinion. It's not mind controlled. Okay? It's not telepathy, no. It simply smoothens the transfer information and it establishes a more harmonious relationship. Okay? If your relationships, any relationship, lovers, parental, filial, customer relationship, employer-employee relationship, or friendship, if any relationship is a bit hard, Apya, your part will smoothen. You see, in the Apya, there's a respect. There's an understanding that harmony does not mean to agree. Harmony means that I can respect something that I do not understand. But I don't understand what they're saying. You don't need to understand to respect. You see, when we don't understand someone else, we freak out. But I don't understand. I must understand. You see, that's not true. You don't need to understand. It's pleasant to understand, but it's not a necessity. Apya smooths the relationship by calming these impulses that come inside that would come and want to trouble it. So of course it's great between lovers, between parent and children, and with your boss. Just remember, if you start to panic, or if you're angry at someone and you practice Apya because you're in your mind, Apya, Apya, the other has to calm the fuck down, Apya. And you're doing it because you want the other to become harmonious. I mean, like I said, it's not mind control. It's not like if you could deprive someone else of their freedom and their freedom of being an asshole or just being irritated at you on that day or forever. It's about you. You see, it takes this humility to say, I will do my share. I need to do my share of patience, of trying to understand someone else when it's cryptic or difficult to communicate with. I'm the one who has to take charge and say, all right, when they're angry, I will patiently listen to the content of their message. It's instead of the harsh container. It still will be unpleasant if someone is angry and talks with, insult and aggressivity and the attitude, and you and you and you and then me and then you. It's unpleasant. What are they trying to say? What is the real thing? And ask yourself, honestly and humbly, did I do something for that person to require aggressivity to communicate with me? Because most of the time you didn't. Most of the time the other person is just someone who gets so easily flustered that they start to be aggressive with the moment there's a trigger. Can be a word you said, can be anything. It doesn't concern you. They have their aggressivity problem. So it's not your fault. Okay? Sometimes it's good to say, that person is aggressive. I'm not responsible for them being aggressive. But did I provoke it? I might not want to provoke it. And often it's no, but if it's yes, I would really want to find out. If I'm the one that transferred this conversation into an exchange and upgraded it to a battle, if I'm the one responsible, I would like to know. Do you understand? And everyone's human. Everyone has their right to be angry at some time or react. And it's okay if the other is reacting. It's also okay if you're reacting. If you decide to be the one angry, you literally choose to disturb the Apya, to disturb the relationship. You're the one who chooses to go aggressive. Now let's talk about that part. You don't really choose to become aggressive. There's a power that rises inside you when you become aggressive. I like to say we choose to be aggressive, but in truth, that choice has been made inside us. We're still responsible because it's our own potentials. It's our own power that says, oh my God, I'm just going to tear that person's head off. Motherfucker. Now, you listen to me, okay? And you take the attitude. Think about it. Is this harmonious? Is this friendly? Do you think the other will be tempted to consider the content of your message? Or will they stay stuck with your container, the aggressive attitude? Think about it. When you shift into an aggressive attitude, recently I shifted to an aggressive attitude. Now there's a reason why. But I'm the one who chose to switch to aggressivity. I believed for a moment this is how it's gonna be. I did try peaceful, consciously and intentionally, yes. You see, when we choose, or when a potential rises and we just lose our shit, we just freak out. We don't see it. We're just thinking like, okay, I'm somebody, you're fucking nobody, you're gonna listen to me, and then you just go and you throw your stuff. Is this what you were looking for? Will the other be receptive? Because be honest, most of the time if someone is angry at you, you are not receptive. You become defensive, you put it on a wall. Your own potential rising, you don't want to listen to the content of what your aggressive interlocutor is saying. You don't want to. So do you believe that when you become aggressive or intense, someone wants to listen to you? Probably not. Apya is not a city exclusively to calming you down when you get angry, but it does that. One of those wonderful advantages is to calm you down. And train yourself inside into allowing a friendly exchange, a conversation that is smooth, that is respectful, and where you expect the outcome to be either joyful or productive. It was fun to talk to you, or it's satisfying, we got somewhere. We got somewhere, we progressed. Now it's too bad that Apya mostly applies to you. And maybe through radiation it could apply to others, but you're not going to change someone else's potential. If you say a trigger word and they don't want to look at themselves, they're going to be impossible to talk to if that's their way to be. And we can't change. And that's what I decided recently, is like, sometimes I just cannot change someone else who doesn't want to hear me, and I should accept it. Now, I don't need to be in a relationship with that person. I can just say, hey, guy, like, there's no point. Just fuck off. I'm going to stop trying to communicate with a wall. Then you have to mourn. Then you have to mourn what you're losing in that relationship, you know? So that's the dynamic of the jungle, you know? That's life. That's the world. It flows in and flows out. It's like, yeah, it's not too fun all the time. The Siddhi of Apya, it focuses on your desire to establish a harmonious relationship. And in the Siddhi is allow a respectful flow of information. Just let it flow respectfully, and give a chance to the other to understand. If they don't, accept it that they don't. Okay? And try to understand the other. It goes the other way. You try to understand the other, and sometimes you don't understand the other, and that's okay. You can still make an effort, and you can just say, well, I don't understand you, but I'm trying. Is there a way we could find a way to understand each other? Okay? So the Siddhi Apya allows the respectful establishment of a relationship. At least it will care of your attitude inside. I'm going to practice for myself. Maybe the other will practice it for themselves, but I'm going to do it for me. Yeah. So let's start with that. Apya. Harmonious relationship. Now, of course, all the other aspects, I've been focusing on a specific aspect, which is the base definition of Apya. But all the other aspects of friendly relationship, joyful. Now, in friendship, usually, we expect much less of the other person than we would expect from an employee or an employer. We expect something from a lover. We expect something from a parent or a child. In friendship, there's much less expectation from the other party, or the parties if it's multiple people, if it's a group. In friendship, there's less expectation. Apya doesn't mean friendship. It means relationship in general. You see? And why it's friendly is that it also lowers the expectation from the other in the relationship. Because expectation is usually false hopes, over certainty, and egocentrism, greed. Like, I expect something from. Of course, at work, you hire someone because you expect something from them. So let's not talk about that, but yeah, we're talking about management expectation. Well, yeah. I mean, my mom told me, as long as I feed you, I'm just going to do what I say. And she was a good mom. I just disagreed with some decisions, but I had to accept it. Today, the parents, they ask their kids, what do you want to eat? I mean, my mom, she put food on the table. That's the jungle. Okay, it's like she would feed the cat, put food in the bowl. Now you eat that or you die, okay? And then she would do the same with us. This is food. You eat it or you die. I mean, this is how it is. Today, there's everyone says they want to have something different. It's like, you see, this is cultural and it's also social. It's where our world is now. And it's okay. If it's harmonious for you guys to have 4 people who want to eat 4 different things and you decide something and everyone else is disappointed, that's your thing, okay? Apya wants us to be all in harmony. And, the humbling part of Apya is you're doing the practice for yourself. It won't necessarily accept through a very slow radiation from you to others when you are overwhelmed with the Apya power. Yes, you can radiate a bit on others over time. Apya applies mostly to you. This is what's going to happen. So it will make you want to be harmonious. And it starts by you not losing your shit. So not responding aggressively to walls or insults. When someone comes to trigger you in various ways because they are aggressive or they are non-responsive or they intentionally attack you with words, or sometimes they're just being themselves, but that is enough for your own trauma or past potentials to rise. You see, Apya will calm your reactiveness to others. Either it's active or passive from themselves, doesn't matter. Apya wants to establish a harmonious relationship. And that means respect. And follow the stream of the exchange. And don't have your mind go left, up, down, right, like bing, bing, and change the subject and be lost and all, because, your mind goes crazy everywhere. It's what is the other saying? And I want to be in harmony in there. And that means try to be where their mind is and see what happens. And focus on what you want to say, but you don't want to impose it. And it flows harmoniously. And that's friendly. That's friendship. That's good. So if you start to be like this with your parent, your lover, your employees or employer, and the other world, the strangers around, you don't have to force a smile or fake anything. You can just be simple and happy and Apya. Anything inside me could explode in rage, but that's not what I want. And nourishing the feeling respect and harmony and permitting the exchange, allowing the exchange to happen. This is a potential that grows in you. And then naturally you are more harmonious with everyone. And they feel it. Because then the Siddhi will radiate. And with more focus, it will transmigrate. It will go into the specific person you're looking at. It's like maybe they will have that influence of the Apya. and will want to naturally be more harmonious with you. But that's after a long practice for yourself. First you need to be, when you practice a Siddhi, it overwhelms you. It makes you the target. You're doing it for yourself. And once you're filled, it overflows everywhere. That's radiance. And if you start to focus on a specific person or an object or a place, then it's not radiation, it's transmigration. It will go there. But there has to be something to go there. You need to be filled with the Apya power for it to transmigrate somewhere and affect others. Okay? So we'll mostly do it for personal growth. For ourselves. I know I'm the one who loses my shit when I lose my shit. I'm the one who gets defensive and aggressive when I'm the one who gets aggressive or defensive. It doesn't happen often, but if for often enough a trigger comes, I'm a human being. And it happens that I elevate the tone, I get angry, I start to insult. Not much, but it happens. Not often, but it happens. So I decided, hey, Apya, I'm just going to go to this very simple city, Apya. So we practice now. I'm doing it for myself, Apya. 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 It's so much more fun. That information flows respectfully, kindly, nice. Side effect is you become a bit more humoristic. And not through dark humor, because that's kind of a combo of insults and stuff, to fun humor, just ridiculous stuff or games, whatever cracks a laugh in your face. Because friendship is also laughing with friends, and because something was nice, because the activity worked well, because you felt the other was there, just a presence of someone, and it was soothing to your heart and your mind. To face the world, that looks like a parenthesis, okay? It's not, but okay, let's say it's a parenthesis, it doesn't matter. To face the world, you should have 20 minutes to a full hour of positivity in your mind. At least 1 hour per day. Let's say 1 hour, okay? There's this other podcaster, this guy on TikTok and Facebook that he gives counseling, and he says 1 hour, I say 20 minutes. Well, with a Siddhi, it's extremely powerful, so 20 minutes, but anyway. I just got lost here, sorry. 1 hour of positivity. Positivity. Because you're going to have a lot of either negative stuff around you, the negative news, the negative people, the attitude of others in society. There's going to be negativity or sterility, like stuff that is gray follower, sterile, uselessness, and then boredom is a soft and long-term accumulated negativity. Okay, so you want to make sure that you compensate this negativity with positivity. And that means you fill your mind with a Siddhi. And that's positivity. You do personal growth, that's positivity. But if all you do is emotional integration, which is essential in my opinion, if all you do is emotional integration, you're going to be looking at shit all day. You're going to be looking at what's wrong with you and what hurts. So emotional integration is super essential to grow. But if you only do that, you're only going to be looking at what is to resolve, what is broken. Of course, after a good emotional integration, you have the positive moment of revelation. I'm freed from a potential. I logically understand a behavior. I understand a mechanic. That's how I behave as an arrogant bitch. I am the one who had the problem. And I understood it. It's great. I love to see my shit. You know, it's fun. But you have to do something else than emotional integration. Thank you, Shivani, for thinking it loud enough so I heard that was talking too fast. When I get excited, I do that. I forget there's a translator or two, sometimes two. Well, most of the time there's two translators now. Apya, harmony in a relationship, positivity, respectful communication, allow communication, focus on the current stream instead of jumping left and right with other things. Like I'm teaching Apya now, and twice in the last 10 minutes, I got lost into a parenthesis. I'm trying to teach, just focus on that stream and permit it that my mind goes elsewhere. Maybe that was to give you an example. It was useful. It just happened. You see, when I give classes, I trust that the class is being given. If you practice the vows of the Bodhisattva and you study the Diamond Sutra, you understand that the Bodhisattva does not believe into being a self, a person, an identity, or having a lifespan of its own. It reminds me, that is an intentional parenthesis, all of that, by the way. It reminds me of a conversation I had with my friend Simon, who's dead now for a long time. And he said, I've realized something. When I'm looking at the board, we were driving on the street and we're looking at commercial boards on the street. And he says, I'm looking at the board. I'm looking at the commercial sign. But in this state, where I don't believe that I'm stuck with my own identity, I realized the board is being observed. I'm not stuck with this fantasy that I am observing the board. I am just aware that the board is being observed because I'm there to observe it. See, and that he had this realization of a step in the path of the Bodhisattva, that you let go of the importance of your own implication in the process. So in this way, when I give a class, my attitude is a class is being given. Because obviously, in the objective reality, I am there to give it. But the feeling I have is a class is being given, and the class gives itself as Vishnu in his perfection will just flow with what is required for the class to happen. I still focus on what I want to teach, or else I'll get lost, you know. It's a combo. It's like the Jedi Force. You don't control it, doesn't control you, but both, you know. And Apya has something to do with this Bodhisattva context of the relationship is happening. You know, when I say you allow a respectful exchange, it's not I am exchanging with the other who is exchanging with me. Is we allow that there is an exchange. The relationship is happening. But your mind still has to concentrate on that stream. The friendship, or the romantic lover, or the parent, or the child, or the boss, or the employee, or your government, or the police officer, or the person at the cash counter in the store, these relationships are happening and you allow them respectfully. Now, Apya is going further away than just respect the people you talk to, you see? Apya brings you into a bodhisattva state if you practice long enough, where your responsibility is the respect part. Respect the relationship that is happening and stay on that flow. And then you go into this state of being in the relationship. Being. You know, the philosophical great being. And if you go further in the path of the bodhisattva, this being thing will become paradoxical because there's no identification to being, but obviously you are here, so we use the word being as a way to communicate about it, okay? So you are, but you aren't. Well, of course you are. It's like the Japanese practice of no mind. You obviously still have a mind while you're practicing no mind. So what does it mean? It's paradoxical. So that's how deep Apya will lead you into this relationship concept. You know, it starts with the respect of not becoming aggressive when things get hard. But after you've done some personal growth, you'll realize I am too attached to what I want to say if I become angry if I'm not listened to. I become attached to my pride, to my value in myself, if the other imposes what they want to say to me. Or if they have a container, an aggressive attitude that I don't like. If I'm offended by someone else, and they're not physically wounding me, they're just like use a tone of voice and a choice of word, what must I lose to find peace again? Should I lose self-importance? Should I lose value? Should I lose the need to be heard? You see, we are human and we always want to be heard. And it's okay. Humans are not necessarily lonely people. We're clan people. We're friends people. You know, we want to be with others. It's important. We need community. Most of us, not all of us. So it's normal to want to be in a harmonious relationships. I mean, just hang out with people you're harmonious with. And if there's no harmony in your relationship, then stop hanging out with those. Unless you have responsibilities attached, then it's a completely different class. Okay? We're not going to talk about that. Responsibilities first. Apya. Allow that relationship. And that means don't let my own ego disrespect the other. Don't allow my own ego to believe the other is disrespecting me. Until they're about to physically hurt me, words are words. Give it a chance. It's hard. You see, because this is the pride. Last year, I said fuck off to someone, and that person lost her shit. Says, no one says fuck off. I said, do you understand why I got to the point of saying fuck off? Do you understand what got me there? I didn't say fuck off to insult you. I said fuck off because I saw no point in trying to communicate anymore. You see, afterwards, I had to go back and say, hey, I lost my shit. I lost my peace. My mind would try to convince me that I had the right to stop the contact. But that's not the person I want to be. I want to be the person who recognizes I am the one that was hurt in my pride because I could not control that conversation. You see? Our crusades in the ego will try to just put it on the other. Always. We're going to try to, yeah, but that's because the other, and then we insist on trying to explain ourselves over and over, and you're right. The other has their responsibility on how you reach the point of irritation. Of course, the other. But if they're not going to look at it, what can you do? You can look at you. I lost harmony. I could have found many ways to just end that conversation respectfully, or end the relationship if there's just no freaking point. Do you understand? Choices, hard calls, human choices all the time, and it's okay. The difficulty of the path of the Bodhisattva and the depth of the Siddhi Apya, okay? How deep it reaches into the ego. My identity, my attachment to myself, my pride. And you should not remain in a place where people disrespect you. You should not remain in a place where you're not, at least in relative peace. You know, there are responsibilities. There was this woman telling me, I love what you teach and stuff, but regardless what I apply week after week or day after day, I mean, she was just like full integration. She said, I integrate every day. I follow the class of Shivagam. I listen to all your videos. Any work I do on myself, the people around me are physically violent with me and my children. There is disharmony. It's so hard. And I'm trying to apply this thing about what can I do about me. And the first thing I wrote is, hey, the hell, girl, if there's violence, you go to the cops. You go see a clinic and you ask to speak to social workers. You need to change that environment as soon as possible, girl. The livelihood of you. It's not the life of your children like life and death. It's the life of your children in sense you're going to allow them to be fed violence and negative potentials, and then the rest of their life they have to deal with that. They need to be fed, my mom did what she had to do to better our lives. That's what they have to remember. So I'm telling you to work on yourself whatever happens. If there's a point of too much negativity and violence, you need to act and change that outside, of course. Basically, I was telling this girl, don't stay with a violent husband. Change that reality with the tools that your society gives you. That's what you have to do, okay? I need to give this little blab about the importance of putting also harmony in your environment. I have to, because I teach so much about what did I do to lose my peace when the other was aggressive. Like, I have to work on myself. But I don't want you to reach a point where you will accept eternal violence, eternal negativity. Because that's not the goal. I just want to say to you how hard it is to go back inside and take responsibility. I got angry. That was my pride. If I don't have peace in my environment, I'll change my environment with the means that I have, and I'll do it legally and respectfully, but I'll do it. That being said, when I lost my peace, I'm the one that was attached to my own value and my own self. Difficult, huh? Also, you guys will tend to lose concentration. Someone's talking about a topic and your mind will go left and right and try to just destroy what they're saying, or say that the words they use are wrong. It's like, just try to concentrate on, there's one stream of communication now. Let's go to the depth of that. Let's allow that, or else you'll never reach the end of that conversation or the end of this information exchange. So the relationship will have failed, basically, or that exchange will not have happened. Okay, so it takes courage from both parties, but you can only take care of your own part. Like, how can I remain harmonious when the other doesn't want to? I'll start with myself. And working for people with authority can be difficult. And having friends that are a bit arrogant can be challenging. It's okay. It happens. Apya. Respect the exchange. Not be stuck with anything that wants to rise in your ego to interrupt it or to disrespect it. Just desire a really harmonious flow of information. You'll see friendliness will happen with any other type of relationship. Just friendship and respect and harmony will just rise inside you, and through radiation, the world around you. Apya. Love you guys. Have a good practice.